Speaker.
Mr. Grant Robertson.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I knew the National Party was going to try and hide a few things during the US election count, but I didn't think they would try and hide the end of Judith Collins' political career, because that speech, Mr. Speaker, is it. It's all over. There's no more Judith campaign. The small faction for Judith Collins that remains in the chamber now, that's it. And after that speech, Mr. Speaker, I don't think the Judith for PM, the Judith for National Leader campaign is going to go anywhere whatsoever. Mr. Speaker, in the weekend, the Labour Party held its conference, and I heard the speech of the next Prime Minister of New Zealand, Andrew Little, because Andrew Little's speech on Sunday was a speech of positivity. It was a speech about the things that New Zealanders care about. Good, decent housing for all New Zealanders. An education system where it doesn't matter what community you're from, there will be a world-class education there for your children. A health system where we restore the $1.7 billion of cuts that this national government's made, where we don't think it's okay for people to lose their sight while they wait for treatment. That's the health system that Nationals delivered us. Andrew Little promised something much, much better than that. And the centrepiece of the speech that Andrew Little gave at that conference, which is the fact that on this side of the House, Mr. Speaker, we give a damn about young New Zealanders. We believe that having 74,000 young New Zealanders not in employment, not in education, and not in training is not only a disgrace, it's a massive loss of potential talent for our country. It's 10,000 more people, Mr. Speaker, than when the National Party took office. It's 3,000 more than last year. This is a government sitting on its hands as the potential of young New Zealanders goes to waste. And the plan that Andrew Little outlined on Sunday was a clear one. We're going to have programs that are about making sure young New Zealanders are ready for work. And Stephen Joyce, in his response to our announcement on Sunday, said, "Why are you competing with other employers who want to employ these people?" There's the man who doesn't understand the labour market, Mr. Speaker, because these are the young New Zealanders who need a helping hand. These are the young New Zealanders who could be fantastic contributors in the workplace, but they don't have the skills to take those jobs up at the moment. That's why they need a program with mentors. That's why they need a program where we'll support them to get the skills to be able to go on and flourish and fulfil their potential. And the National Party's solution for those people, write them off. Pretty damn hopeless, drug addled, not ready, not living in the right place. That's called giving up. That's called giving up on the next generation of New Zealanders. And we're not going to do that on this side of the House, Mr. Speaker. So we've got the Ready to Work program in place. We've also got a program that will ensure that New Zealanders can face the future of work with confidence. And I want to say to all of my colleagues and the thousands of New Zealanders around the country who've supported Labour in our Future of Work project, thank you very much. We're proud of this report, Mr. Speaker, because what it does is what the National Party never does. We're looking ahead. We're not worried about how we're going to look in the next 24 hours of the news. We're worried about how New Zealand will look in 20 years' time. It's time for a government that actually plans for the future, that gets alongside New Zealanders to grow new businesses, to adapt to the changing technology, to make sure that the benefits of globalisation actually reach working people. And Mr. Speaker, on that side of the House, they would rather see young New Zealanders as collateral damage in their ideological crusade. Well, on this side of the House, we're not interested in that. We're interested in practical solutions. 3 years free post-secondary school education and training. Taking the dole being paid to 18 and 19-year-olds and making that a subsidy for apprenticeships. And getting people into work opportunities that grow their skills and make them the kind of employees that people will want to take on. Mr. Speaker, I've been to about 20 Labour Party conferences now in my life. And the one that I went to over the weekend is the best one I have ever been to. This is a party, Mr. Speaker, that has a plan for the future. We are are going to do what Labour parties have done for 100 years. We will build a better New Zealand. We will invest in people. We will make sure that every single New Zealander has the opportunity to grow up in a warm, dry home, to have a good education and to have decent work. That is the legacy of the last 100 years of the Labour Party, and that's what will win us the election next year.